Saturday morning coming at you live, 9 a.m. We have all sorts of college football games to talk about, NFL games to preview. I cannot wait. This is one of the greatest sports weekends in all the year. I'm your host, Mitch Rogers. I'm joined today by Vince Mayoko, John Fredericks, and Chris Saxman. I want to thank our sponsors, WVSportsNation.com, WV The Torch, and want to welcome JS Walker Associates Realtors, a new sponsor to the program and to the overall John Fredericks landscape. So want to introduce them and say welcome aboard. We do some gambling picks on the show. And again, it is for entertainment purposes only. You can always call 1-800-GAMBLER, but specifically, you can also go to 1-800-327-5050 or visit gamblinghelpline-ma.org in Massachusetts. Call 877-G-HOPE-NY-text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona, 1-800-522-4700 in Kansas and New Hampshire, and 888-789-777. Visit ccpg.org in Connecticut, 1-800-BETS-OFF in Indiana, or visit opgr.org in Oregon. Want to welcome everybody back to the show. If it's your first time on the show, we tend to, in football season, just break down a lot of football. And that's what we're going to do. First hour is going to be majority college. Second will be NFL. We'll break down all the games. And we've had a doozy here, fellas. And we've been talking about the college playoffs, and obviously the college playoffs are in full force. We had the semifinals take place the last couple of days. Now we're into the finals. And lo and behold, the Final Four was a weird Final Four, right? It was fresh, new. But man, 5 SEC teams get into this playoff. They really battled hard to try to get Alabama into the playoff. They did. 3 losses. I know it's a championship game, but they got destroyed by Georgia. They get in. They're gone. Now, all of a sudden, we have no SEC teams. And what does this say about the landscape of college football now? Has everybody caught up to them? I don't think so. I think the SEC is still going to be powerful. It's just kind of where they're at today. But I'll kick this off to the panel, man. Like, you got Greg Sankey in the SEC, Chris. You've got Nick Saban and Paul's and all the guys out there that are all these SEC ambassadors. Are we overreacting? It's been 3 years in a row. They haven't made the championship game. It's nil, transfer portal. We're in a new world. Is the SEC as we've known it done, or are they just rebuilding?
They're adjusting, but the SEC is by far and away the deepest of the conferences as far as quality. I mean, you're talking all the way down to Vanderbilt now. They're in Oklahoma and Texas. It's the dominant league. Do they have the upper tier championship teams? No. The Big Ten is caught up. They're spending money. NIL is leveling the playing field. The talent is going there accordingly. But let's not kid ourselves. Indiana is winning this thing without 5-star recruits. Okay, coaching still matters. Putting a quality team on the field every single day matters. But the SEC is still the dominant league because of the depth of the quality of the teams in, frankly, football, baseball, and basketball. That's the dominant league.
Coach Vince, Chris brought up Indiana, and I feel like every program, like the West Virginias that we cover, the North Carolinas, all these programs that are kind of known for other sports or just lower tier Power 4 schools are looking at Indiana and they're just chomping at the bit, like, oh, we can all do this. But Vince, I think this might be an anomaly. Like, I don't think these programs need to look at Indiana and go, if we don't do this, then it's all failing. And if they do, they're going to have a lot to learn from.
Well, yeah, I mean, case in point, look at the merry-go-round with head coaches, and I think all 4 of us will agree on this one. Best coach in college football is Curt Cignetti right now. There's no question about it. There's not even a close second. Okay. Now, some things that I think have changed over recent years prior to portal and NIL is the SEC could guarantee you're going to play in front of a packed house. Mm-hmm. You're going to have great facilities. Mm-hmm. You're going to have an unbelievable weight room. Mm-hmm. And now that the NIL picture has taken place, it's kind of given, obviously, the Indianas, and you can name any other team in other conferences, and to be quite honest, it gives Vanderbilt as well too. But the big money donors that these programs have. I didn't know this until yesterday that Mark Cuban is a graduate of IU. And you don't think Mark Cuban, I'm not a Mark Cuban fan, but you don't think Mark Cuban is contributing financially to the NIL at IU? So most of these, programs outside of the SEC are going to have some big money donors. We've talked about in previous weeks about the BYU and the Mormon Church, how much they've played a picture into this whole NIL thing as well. I don't think the SEC is going anywhere, but it's definitely given more programs nationwide an opportunity to compete and to go deep into the playoffs.
And John, Vince brings up we talked about the Mormon Church. The Catholic Church is going to be involved, obviously, with Notre Dame. I imagine in Silicon Valley, you're going to. It's all right. Maybe some Jesuits. Wait, but Silicon Valley. So wherever you're at, I mean, we've seen Oregon with Nike. We've seen this happen before legally, I guess, back in the day. But now that they're allowed to do that, there's got to be some regulations and caps put on that. And the SEC is obviously struggling because of it a little bit, right?
It's going to be very difficult to put caps on what donors give and what the NIL situation is, because there's basically any trust laws in this country. You can't stop people from giving, and you can't stop people from making money. Any cap they put on this thing is going to be subject to lawsuits immediately by those that want the money, and they'll pay the lawyers to do it. And it's going to be very difficult for a panel to sit there and say, no, I'm a 3-judge panel, and I'm going to limit the amount of money that somebody can make for selling their name, image, and likeness in a free capitalist society. I guess maybe if you put the college in New York City and Mandami, made the decision, that might be different. But in a free and open society, the capitalistic society, you're not going to be able to do that. So this money is going to rain down, and the people that are hiring general managers and trying to figure this out, obviously, are going to be in a position to get the better players. But look, culture matters. As you get older, Vince, and Saxman, Mitch, all of us here are mature. You really understand whether it's your family, whether it's your business, whether it's your athletic team, whether it's your neighborhood H thing, whatever it is, homeowners association. The culture you develop, even within a local government, any leadership position has to have a culture. And if you're able to do that successfully, you draw talent into you because they want to be a part of it. And I think that's what Cincinnati has done. That's what Indiana has done. One thing they said on TV yesterday that I had heard multiple times, but didn't really put it together until they made it specific, that I guess wide receiver they had catching all these passes. He said that Cincinnati goes for past performance, not potential. And I've heard that, but I didn't really, put it together until they said, the guy came from St. Francis, which was right outside where I lived in Pittsburgh, a D3 school. And they gave him money, gave him the spot, not because he was big, tall, or potential, but because as a freshman, he had 45 catches, 6 of them for touchdowns. Then he signed him at James Madison. Of course, he followed them to Indiana. So I think these are the different things that Cincinnati has figured out, and that's why he's at the top of the heap.
Chris, where did
hey, John, that's a good point, because you really think about the NFL model, and I'm sure there's some areas, there's some gray area, but what's the big way that they evaluate talent is their combine, which is all based on speed, stuff that you had talked about. It's not based on performance. So you kind of start wondering as an NFL GM, boy, do I start now looking at performance as opposed to potential, right? To get back to the NIL, this past week, Texas Tech signs the 2 top portal guys, a quarterback from Cincinnati and an edge rusher from, I can't remember where, but anyhow, they got the 2 top guys. So we're talking about the SEC, right? Well, here's Texas Tech, who the SEC probably wanted no part of. And now all of a sudden they're bringing in these big money players that have, as John had mentioned, past performance accolades to their college career. So the landscape has definitely changed, has it not?
You know what's cool about Curt Cignetti? He's not young. I mean, he's in his 60s. I'll go to Coach Vince on this one. How excited are some of these other coaches that are a little bit older in their 50s and 60s, performing well in Division II or Power 5 schools? They have a shot now. I mean, Curt Cignetti he's not some diamond in the rough. He's been around. Why would it take so long to uncover this hidden gem, and now he's the top coach in all the land?
Yeah. Do any of you know how long was he at Alabama as one of Nick Saban's assistants?
4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years.
07 to 10.
He parlayed that into what, Indiana University in Pennsylvania or something like that.
Yeah. Well, he knew he wanted to be a head coach, but he knew he wasn't going to go anywhere in D1. So, and that's where his father was a legend at IUP. And he went back there. It took a massive pay cut to prove himself, basically. I mean, look, part of being a head coach at that level is some level of personality, and self-promotion. Curt Cignetti does not self-promote, right? When he burst on the scene and he came from JMU, he said, "I win, Google me." And he meant it. Yeah. But he proved himself over time. And the guy's going to be an absolute legend for just his demeanor and attitude alone, but he's putting wins on the board every single day. And if you look at that Indiana team, and we watch a lot of sports, guys, we've been doing this for a long time, our entire lives. I can't discern. This is one of the great things about Indiana. I can't discern one player from the next in that team because they all play at such a high level. They play with such team spirit, and they all play technically sound football. It is a beautiful thing to watch Indiana football right now. I'm a big fan of Curt Cignetti and the way he coaches and the way he gets the maximum out of each of his players every single play. And they just play such sound quality football. It's a joy to watch.
John, and it almost looks, it has a lot of resemblance to Nick Saban on the sideline and what he does and his demeanor and stuff. So you can see him getting that. And also he's from Morgantown, went to Morgantown High School, graduate of West Virginia. So give him his props there. But man, what I love about this SEC talk is this is college football. They've built themselves up as, they're the New England Patriots or the Kansas City Chiefs. Everybody, unless you're in there, you hate the SEC, right? So everybody that's not an SEC affiliate is loving what's happened in this Final Four and especially in this playoff. But John, I think the SEC is going to be just fine, right? I mean, this is just a little blip. It's good for the talk shows, but they have more money than everybody else potentially.
Any given Saturday, right? I guess is where we are now. But the NIL money is evening the playing field, and it's growing. This is the thing. This NIL thing is growing, and so it's giving everybody an equal opportunity. Texas Tech being the example you brought up, but I want to get back to this performance thing, and I put my son up there on the backdrop because I knew I had a feeling we were going to get to this today. So. He meets with a major league scout, and I'm not going to tell you who or what team. But the first question he has is, do you have anybody that looks like me, right? 5'9", left-hander, right? Not 6'6". And great question. And the guy says, we look at performance. We're looking for left-handers that get outs. How you get the outs or what you look like is irrelevant to this organization. That's why we're meeting with you today. That's where some of this is going now, right? Because whether it's when you look at these two quarterbacks, the game started, the announcers were saying, well, Dante Moore on Oregon's probably going to go number one, bigger, stronger, faster, more athletic. And then you look at this Mendoza. I mean, this guy throws laser beams, not as big, not as strong, not as fast, doesn't have maybe the physical qualities there. But if you're the Raiders and you saw that game, I don't know how you don't draft this guy. You just want him on your team, right?
Yeah.
Well,
John, to that point about Dante Moore, I don't think he could.
John.
Go ahead.
This kind of goes back. You talked about Joe, John, is let's go back in time in Major League Baseball, the Billy Beane era at Oakland. They were all about performance as well, too. They weren't about, hey, we're going to draft the number one guy in the draft because he's 6'5" and, he's got an exit velo of 110. They look at performance, and they looked at high school stats, college stats to make determinations. When they would dip into the free agent market, which wasn't very often with Oakland, but they would get quality guys that had past performance on base percentage, numbers like that translated to helping teams win games. And it's hard to sit here and bash Oakland during that period of time where they were a factor every single year.
Yeah, if you remember from the movie Moneyball, when they're sitting in the scout room and they're talking about all these guys and how well they hit, and Billy Beans, Brad Pitt's character Billy Beans says, if he's such a good hitter, how come he doesn't hit so good?
Well,
it's a great line. So because their whole thing was getting on base, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's the same thing. It's performance is it. And the other thing the guy said to him is, we're meeting with you today because so far in your college career, you've yet to give up a hit to a left-handed batter. A hit yet. And you're junior. You're going in your junior season.
That's crazy.
So they look at this stuff and, you kind of forget about this because, he's had his ups and downs like all ball players do, but you forget the depth of what they look at now is pretty stunning.
Well, John, when we have 4 kids, and the question when Michelle was pregnant was like, what do you want to have, a boy or a girl? I said, I want a left-handed middle reliever.
Right.
That's just it. I want a loogie. I want a left-handed one-out guy, right?
And you bring up the analytics and stuff, and I believe you best believe was what I meant to say is that they're going to be looking at Indiana and how they have done this so quickly, because obviously if you're going into the portal, you have to have your own way of, your analytics or consuming that data, just like in Moneyball. And I bet you every different university has different ways of doing that, because it's hard to get data points on consistent performance when you have a lot of these kids jumping around schools every single year. And Tom Brady brings up a great point too. Like, what kind of men are we building right now that if you don't get what you want, you don't start, you can just transfer around. And he said NFL teams are going to look at that, and he's talking from his perspective because he is looking at that now as he's going to be taking the reins of rebuilding the Raiders. So, I mean, it is absolutely interesting. And SEC is obviously going to be back. It's just going to be evened out. Now they might eat themselves up, because now you got internally the schools that used to suck, and they don't have like some cohesion, like, okay, guys, all right, Vanderbilt, calm down, slow your roll a little bit. We need the blue bloods in this conference to start ramping back up so we can win a title. No, they're just going to maybe just parity in the SEC is going to be why it's going to be harder for them to consistently win championships like Alabama. And that's what they want to see again. But I'm glad. And let's jump into the football. No, you know what? Hold on. Let's do a little ad break.
Well, let's just back up on the SEC though. Money is important, and money, drove SEC, and we all know about the bags of money being dropped, that kind of stuff. It was an ongoing joke throughout the South for decades. Okay, right. Now it's above board. Okay, fine. Indiana is not winning with the 5 stars that the money bought previously. Okay, that's just quality coaching. And after a while, what's going to happen in this as the market evolves and gets better is it's going to expose coaching performance, not just athletic performance, but coaching performance. Because again, look at Indiana and how good did they tackle? That is a great tackling team. That is fundamental football.
Did they miss but 1 or 2 tackles the whole night last night?
They wrap up and they drop, man. It is great to watch. It's just fun to watch them play football.
Yeah, because like in the Miami game, I don't think they had more talent. They just seem better coached. It seems coaching is going a long way right now, especially when you only have these kids for a year or two, and you got to make an instant impact. I want to get to our first break. I'm excited. We're excited for our man Brendan Statler made a big sale this week, John. J.S. Walker Associate Realtors in Morgantown comes to the fold, is with some Godzilla wins. I know we want to do a little ad read for them, John. Let's welcome
Well, listen, big shout out to Brendan Statler. Couldn't be here today because there's a basketball game that we're doing in West Virginia. But Morgantown, when it comes to real estate, trust the experts who've been proudly serving the area since 1986. J.S. Walker Associates named Morgantown's most trusted real estate advisor and voted Morgantown's best real estate agency. Get this, guys, 12 times. Their dedication and prompt detailed service speak for themselves, backed by over 600 5-star Google reviews. Buying your next home? Here's the deal. Their experienced team starts by asking what matters most: budget, timeline, neighborhood. Then they tailor their proven process, fine-tuning your needs, matching lifestyles to areas, and pinpointing the perfect properties. Can't beat that. Now, if you're selling, that's even better. They guide you through stress-free, I like that, preparing your home, strategic pricing, targeting buyers, and powerful marketing, like right here on the John Fredericks Media Network and and WVSportsNation.com. Visit their website at jswalker.com. That's JS Walker to learn more. Visit their website at jswalker.com to learn more. JS Walker Associates, Morgantown's most trusted real estate advisor since 1986. Make your next move your best move.
All right, welcome aboard. You're listening to the Godzilla Wins Saturday Picks Show. I'm your host, Mitch Rogers, joined by John Fredericks, Vince Mayoko, Chris Saxman, and I guess we kind of buried the lead going right into the SEC. But last night, what a game! We had our group chat going all night long. Indiana completely destroyed Oregon, 56-22, and that might be even closer than it should have been. It was complete dominance. Our boy Mendoza had 5 touchdowns. He was just unbelievable. And when the college scouts are all out there, and a lot of people are saying there's not going to be a quarterback taken in the top 3 to 5. Well, now I think that's all flipped up. 17 for 20 passing, no interceptions, 2 touchdowns to Elijah Surratt, and then a 36-yarder to Charlie Becker. But man, it was amazing. And now, Oregon shot themselves in the foot a little bit, 3 turnovers to start, but that was all because of the pressure brought on. Coach Vince, I'll bring you in here first. How impressed were you? You watch a lot of Oregon football. You're on the West Coast. I know we thought Indiana was the favorite, but we never thought we'd see something like this, right?
No, and I've actually been following Fernando Mendoza for the last 3 or 4 years because he spent 3 years at Cal, and he was his last 2 years he was a starter at Cal, and he was okay. I mean, but it wasn't the transformation between his last year at Cal, which would have been last year in 2024, and what he's done this year has been unbelievable. And once again, it kind of tells you the quality of coaching that Indiana has. But that was just a thorough beatdown last night. I mean, it was. I was feeling sorry for the Oregon Ducks. It was just an absolute beatdown. Sacks hit the nail on the head. They tackle well, but you know what else they do? They block up front really well too. They dominate both sides of the football.
They really do,
defense and offense, and they are as. I think one of our, I might have been, I'm trying to think who it may have been in our chat last night talking about this might be the best college team since the 2019 LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Fair assumption right there. Mm-hmm. We'll put that would be a heck of a game. The 2019 LSU Tigers and the 2025 Indiana Hoosiers.
Yeah, the quarterbacks are definitely similar there. I mean, it was just an onslaught. Like I had to convince, the people we're hanging out with that, let's stop hanging out at this brewery and come home and watch this awesome semifinals game. Then Indiana scores 5 out of 6 drives. All of a sudden, it's a total blowout. Everybody's turning on TVs. We're putting on kid movies. We stopped watching, or they stopped watching. I kept watching. Just a thorough domination. I know Oregon was without the couple running backs, but it would not have mattered. Indiana was going to beat anybody on this night.
I think what's the record of Indiana against Alabama, Ohio State, and Oregon is 107-36 over the last 3 games.
Jeez.
That's insane. And that's just quality coaching and delivery on the field. It's Indiana's one of those teams where you sort of step back and you start watching the blocking and the tackling up front. You start watching the trenches to see where the battle's being won, because typically you follow the ball, right? One of the fallacies in sports is following the ball. A lot of fans get trapped into that, but after a while, guys like the 4 of us who have coached and been on the field, you start following what really matters. After you watch enough games, and watching the trenches with Indiana is a joy to watch. It's just fun to watch them take advantage of their better, and it's not talent. It's coaching. It's performance. It's delivery, and it's a thing of beauty. And I can't wait to see this next game, because I think Miami is significantly underrated, especially when you come out of the ACC as the number 3 team in the ACC. Yeah. Even though they're the best team, obviously, but they're a dangerous, talented team, and I'm really looking forward to that matchup.
John, last night's game seemed like a microcosm for their entire season. Discipline, execution, no mistakes, and now they're just 1 win away from the title. It's truly remarkable, and I'm glad not seeing a let up. I'm glad seeing their full potential on display.
Winning the turnover battle is something they've done all season, but this is a gambling show. This is the biggest bet I made in 25-26.
Me too.
And I bet the money line, and I can't remember. I told Ann last night as I went to bed at the half, and I told my wife, I can never remember. I'm 67 in my life making a huge bet and going to bed at the half, winning, not even concerned about the score. Normally, I go to bed at the half because I'm getting blown out, and I just want to go to bed and deal with it when I get up the next day. I went to bed at the half. Game was over. What was it, 35-7 or something?
That was crazy.
So, forget that. But I bet the money line because, this thing opened at 4.5. And when I went to bet it went down to 3. And I'm like, why is everybody betting Oregon? It actually went down to 3. It was 3.5 early in the day and went down to 3. So the money was going on the Ducks at the 3. And I'm like, you know what? I just don't want to, I win this game 28, 20, 29, 27. I lose the bet. So I laid the $1.70 and bet the money line. Then as soon as I went to bed at the half, I'm like, well, that was dumb. I should have laid the 3 or the 3.5. But they got no respect in Vegas. And a lot of people saw Oregon. Now, look, you can say turnovers, whatever. And they did go down the field in that first drive before the wheels came off. But if they played each other 10 times, Indiana's gonna win that game 10 times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was kind of impressed after the first turnover that they went back down the field. So I was like, okay, all right. You had the turnover, went back down 7-7, but my goodness, that was pretty much it. That was all short.
And then when Indiana got the ball back and answered, I mean, that was the thing. They got the ball back, they answered, and that drive was, I thought, more impressive than the Oregon drive because they just ran the football right up the gut, play after play. And I'm like, I don't know how they're going to stop this team. And then I thought really the wheels came off in Oregon's next drive where they fumbled, went in for a touchdown because remember they had stopped in Indiana at 14-7 and got the ball back, right? I think it was not to 5, but that 21-7 ended, as far as I'm concerned, ended the game.
Yep. Now what's when I think there was that point in the game, when you look at the 56 points that they hung on Oregon, think about that. They hung 56 on Oregon, but the first half of the first quarter, they never touched the ball and they still hung up 56. I mean, that is an exceptionally efficient offense. And, for how many passes he had, 20 some passes, low 20 passes. Mendoza has great reads and he throws the ball. I mean, he is a quality quarterback. I don't know if he's gonna be an NFL quarterback, but he is definitely on par with the Drake May caliber. He's definitely up there with that level of talent. What he did at Cal, I think, speaks to his fit in that system and his ability to execute what Kurt Cignetti has set up for him. I think it's just brilliant. Anyone not betting on Indiana doesn't like America right now.
Can I make one other comment, Mitch?
Absolutely.
I bet Texas Tech against Oregon because I thought Oregon's defense was trash when James Madison ran up 504 yards. They shut down Texas Tech. You guys are talking about the SEC. Let's talk about the garbage in the Big 12 because this is what's missing the conversation. I don't think the Big 12 football is even on the level as now these. They're down there with the ACC because Texas Tech, their representative came in, this lousy defense that JMU basically torched.
They were off for 26 days. Dude.
Yeah, they shut them down. They shut Texas Tech's ass down. Texas Tech, had one legitimate drive in that game, and then they come back again and play a good team and get smoked for 56. I know the couple of garbage touchdowns there at the end, but they get smoked for 56 after getting smoked by JMU, and that was the representative of the Big 12. I think the Big 12 football is a facade, and I think they're right down there with the ACC.
Yeah, I mean they're coming back. They lost
garbage conference.
They lost Oklahoma and Texas. It's like if the SEC lost Alabama and LSU, and then 2 years later, garbage.
John, I think that's a small sample size. I really do. Yes. I think we might talk about every given Saturday, but really, let's go back last year. Who was the darling of the tournament last year was Arizona State, and nearly beating Texas. So I don't know. I
just wait for West Virginia.
I think Texas Tech is better than what they showed on New Year's Day. No question about it. Is the Big 12 at the level?
The problem with the Big 12 is lack of depth.
Yes.
They just don't have the depth the SEC does. When you're down at Central Florida, sorry, Mitch, West Virginia, Colorado, Oak State, Cincinnati. It doesn't compare to the other ones. It's not as good, not a good conference. It's just not a top tier conference, and just deal with it. They're just not.
Exactly.
But with T-Tech dumping the money in, BYU dumping the money in, it's time for West Virginia and other schools to start doing the same thing.
Our poor sponsor, WVSportsNation.com, is not liking this right now. They don't like your smack talk on West Virginia.
No, but
University.
look,
It's a question. It's a question of depth. That's all.
The owner
I
is
think the Mountaineers got a hell of a shot to battle for the conference title next season because these teams aren't that good. Now, look, Texas Tech, after getting embarrassed to go out and spend the money in the portal, right? You got all those oil guys, got all the money, they're giving it to the NIL. I get it. And then you got the Mormons pissed off because they got embarrassed. So
got gold money.
you got the
Virginia.
Church of Latter-day Saints or whatever they're called. I don't, is that what they're called now?
Church of Latter-day Saints. Yeah, the
Who's
Mormons.
that guy John something that they kind of like made it up or something? Who was that guy?
Let's not do this. It's Sunday. It's Saturday morning. I don't have time for that right now.
Mormon listeners today, John. All right. But we do have to talk about the third team in the ACC, the third best team in the ACC. So with you, John, I put 3 units last night. So that was just amazing. I was feeling good the whole night because the night before my 2 units plus 3 on Ole Miss lost that with the last 18 seconds to go as Miami, man, in remarkable, glorious fashion, comes back on Ole Miss, beats them 31-27. John, your son Jack Fredericks went to Ole Miss, was at the game. We had capitalized explicit text messages coming all night long. I felt so good for him the whole night until the last 18 seconds. But man, Carson Beck, who has been in college football since my 10-year-old daughter was born, finally gets his due. If he goes long enough, he's going to play in a national title game at some point. So that is the square off. Next week, we have Miami, third best team in the ACC, going against Indiana. It's actually remarkable. Coach Vince, if you would have looked at the tea leaves to start the year, and we could probably go back, we've done the show, I don't think anyone was really picking. It's maybe a little Indiana, maybe a tiny bit, but Miami. This is, but it looks remarkable. Miami's team is fun. This looks like a good national championship game. I think that I know there was a lot of controversy with the committee and how we get there, but the final product looks fun.
Well, I mean, if you look at the whole setup, I mean, Miami was the last team in because of JMU and Tulane being automatic bids, being one of the top 4 champions. So their last one in, and they were, Notre Dame was complaining, and BYU was complaining, and Vandy was complaining, but
Screw BYU.
You look back at the beginning of the year, you take away that 2-game stretch that Miami had in the middle of their season. They started off the season beating Notre Dame, and even though the final score wasn't crazy, they dominated Notre Dame. And I think they were on the picture at that point in time. People that saw Miami play early on in the season going, this is a team that can compete for a title. And I think it took a little bit of time for us to really look at Indiana and say, yeah, this is a championship caliber team, because I think a lot of us thought, well, okay, last year, nice little story. They made the tournament, they go to Notre Dame and get handled. And I don't think they really started off very impressively because they didn't play anybody in the preseason this year. But the game that caught everybody's eye when they went to Eugene and beat the Ducks on their home turf, that sent a message, not just to the Big Ten, but the entire nation, that Indiana has arrived.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely. Chris, what do you think about Miami's? Miami's had a weird way of getting here, right? I mean, obviously third in the ACC, but some huge wins throughout the season, including 2 nights ago. What do you think their chances are of beating this Indiana team? We have recency bias. Indiana looks unstoppable, but Miami's got a shot, right?
Of course, Miami has a shot because they're on the field and they've earned it. I mean, they lost to SMU and Louisville. Okay, that's a 2-loss team. And in decades previous, they wouldn't be in the conversation. We'd have had the championship because of the Rose Bowl or whatever the bowl game of the day was. So this is an exciting time for college football. That the number 10 team is in the national championship game. Nick Saban hit it on the head early before the playoffs and said, "Watch out for Miami. That is a good quality football team, and they can catch fire," and they have. It's a while before I'm going to take a look at and start looking at both of these teams. I didn't watch the Miami Ole Miss game live. I watched actually both last night, because the ACC had the Miami game running on loop.
Yeah.
It's probably still running because they're so damn proud of themselves for having the Miami Hurricanes in the national championship game. But that was a great game, Miami. And what struck me for both teams is their poise. I think John alluded to it in his comments about how Indiana answered after Oregon took the second possession for the touchdown, and they didn't miss a beat. They went, okay, fine, here we go, it's our turn. Whoom, 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 and they just scored 5 touchdowns in a row, or 4 touchdowns in a row on a very good Oregon team. So, but what has stood out to me is the poise of both of those teams, and watching them side by side. There's the similar demeanor in their behavior on sidelines and in the game itself. They just knuckle down and get the job done, and it's very impressive.
John, I want to take some time to talk about the Ole Miss season and what they had to deal with the departure of Lane Kiffin and being able to get to this spot and be one play away. And I don't care if it's a Hail Mary or not, that's pass interference. Whatever, I'm just going to throw that out there. Ole Miss could have still won this game. But Ole Miss, with an interim coach rolling in there, just really took control of this team, and they showed heart, discipline, and I was rooting for them just because of that. And also, West Virginia fans don't root for Miami, so I was Ole Miss all the way. But talk about Jack's old school.
Well, listen, Jack's still an Ole Miss fan, no matter what he says. He went to the game, so when he told me he was going, I'm not going to bet against my son being there, so I took the 3.5. No way that I was going to lose that game. There's no way. Like, if I figure, okay, so they go to Miami, go down there, they get a field goal, it goes to overtime, then worst, there's no way I'm going to lose because somebody will win the game by 3, or if they both get a touchdown, then they go to the 2-point conversion, 3.5 covers, no matter who wins. So you can't lose the game unless they score a touchdown with 18 seconds to go, which is exactly what happened. There was also a holding call in there that got missed. But look, you got to be proud of Ole Miss and how these kids responded. Because remember when Kiffin bailed, remember I was a guy that was saying, look, it's about the kids, right? These are still, no matter how much money they're getting in NIL, they're kids. So we all have kids this age. We get it. They're still young men. And the way they responded to this and the way they basically told Kiffin, hey, this isn't about you. This is about us. Screw you. I thought was one of the most uplifting stories ever, even though Kiffin ended up making more money because I think he got a bonus play in there. Good for him. But I thought the way those kids at Ole Miss responded was fabulous, and just got to be very proud of them. Now, if you were on that group chat that we had with my son, Jack, okay, Vince, that was a study in psychosis. If you were on that chat, because every time something bad would happen, he texts out, oh my God, we're going to lose. We're going to lose. I know we're going to lose. And then they score and he said, oh my God, I think we're going to win. It's like, oh my God, that was holding. Oh, that was pass interference. I mean, it was like a continual holding of football fan psychosis. And then when they get beat, I think his final text was SHIT. That was
he's a Yinzer at heart. He's just waiting to become a Steeler fan.
It was hilarious.
I couldn't imagine having your own team or a team that you root for in there. That experience,
you got to be proud of them. But again, from a gambling standpoint, if you took the 3.5, right, like I did, how do you lose that game? You can't. Once they went ahead by 3. Worst you're going to do.
I
go to overtime.
You had the hook. I didn't have the hook, but still,
I bet him I got 3.5. Like 3. You can't lose this bet.
and yet,
the next night they gave you a stress-free win it
I went to bed. Sorry,
time all around.
It's all good.
Remember, if you have a gambling problem, dial 1-800-GAMBLER or rewind to the beginning, and you can hear.
Or call me.
Disclaimer blurb out there. To get through these long weekends, we're getting a little bit older. I don't get all the nutrients. Sometimes you need to supplement a little bit of stuff in there. Why don't you tell our listeners and viewers about Healthy Cell, who has been a great sponsor of ours for
that they have a multivitamin that you take in a gel pack. I take it every 7 days a week. I travel with it. Ann takes it. So yesterday I get up at like 4:15 a.m. now. I sleep another 15 minutes. So I get up at 4:15 And I always leave Ann's out for the following day because she doesn't really like, you got to force her to take it, right? But it's so easy. You just rip off the top, you down. It's got all your vitamins, goes right into your system. So I always put it out for her right by where she makes her coffee, right? I lay it out. Here it is. Just get it. Then so I get up, the next day at 4:15, and I'm rumbling around trying to find my wallet, and she's got the thing hidden in the bottom of the bowl. I'm like, come on. So I confronted her last night. I'm like, did you take your vitamins yesterday? Oh yeah, I did. I said, well, why are they in the bottom? Why is it in the bottom of this bowl? Oh, I just didn't feel like it. I'm like, listen, you rip it off, you down it. It takes 2 seconds and you get all the vitamins that your body needs. You get the nutrients you need. And it's so easy to do. And it's not like a pill that, 75% of it, you basically urinate out. It's garbage. This goes right into your system. It's the gel. I've been taking it forever. I feel fantastic. Go to healthycell.com, promo code Godzilla, 20% off your first order. Get the bio vitamin. Take it every day. You got all the nutrients in there. There's a lot of people that advertise all these pills. This is all you have to do because everything is there and it's in a gel format and it tastes good. Just go to healthycell.com, promo code Godzilla, 20% off your first order.
It's the Godzilla Wins radio show. I'm your host, Mitch Rogers, John Fredericks, Vince Mayoko, and Chris Saxman joining me. We just did college football. Got a great national championship coming up next week for you. It's going to be Miami versus Indiana, and I'm going to give everybody about an hour to think about it because I'm going to come back and you're going to have to make a pick. We're going to have to make a pick at the show on this game. Just maybe a little too early pick. You can go to Substack, Chris, and put your real pick on later.
IU is a 7.5 point favorite.
I haven't even looked yet. Yeah, you're right.
7.5.
Money line, Indiana minus 300, Miami plus 240, over under 47.5.
Hey, you know what they say? Get the bets in early. You want to get them in now, right? That's what.
So if you bet this game, if you bet this game before last night's kickoff, right? Indiana was minus 4.5 over the
Ducks.
Miami. Oh, Miami, yeah.
Miami. So like I think who they play last night. Help me out. Who they beat? Oregon. Okay, so Oregon was minus 1.5 if it was Oregon, Miami, and Indiana, was minus 4.5. So if you bet this game before kickoff, you're going to lay 4.5. Obviously, if they don't make it, it's no bet. You get your money back, right? Because you were not betting on the series, just that particular game. So it went from 4.5 to 7.5 based on last night's results. That's a field goal difference. That's a lot.
That's a lot. And that's a lot of the sharps, right? I mean, this is when the sharps get in there. They start, right away, right at the initial line. So we'll see that. We'll monitor that. But we're going to do our too early prediction coming up in about an hour. Chris, you got time. I'll let you turn.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
You can do it. You can do it.
I'm not doing that.
We're going to pivot to the NFL. And this is a fun time. It's a great time. It's playoff football, wild card weekend coming up, but not for everyone. I want to take this to Coach Vince because the Monday after the regular season, you see a lot of coaches fired. And people sometimes from our purview rejoice it, or sometimes, condone it, but they don't think about the families and stuff. It feels like it's just a terrible week. There were some big firings. Mike McDaniel wasn't much of a surprise. Jonathan Gannon, Pete Carroll's gone. Raheem Morris and Brian Daboll, Brian Callahan are gone. But man, Raheem Morris, Stefanski, and Harbaugh really stick out to me. Harbaugh in particular, Vince. We talked about it was the run up to the Steelers-Ravens game that was all for the division and go into the playoffs. And it was it felt like a joking tagline that, hey, the winner of this, they're playing for their jobs basically between Mike Tomlin and but was John Harbaugh a surprise to you? There seemed like there was a rift with Lamar Jackson, but he was the biggest surprise to me.
No.
Not a surprise.
No. I mean, you got a window. Teams have windows. Their window is now closing. They've got probably one of the best generational quarterbacks in the history of the game in Lamar Jackson. They've not been to a Super Bowl. The team has plateaued, right? Things get stale. I think that's what Biscotti saw in with his Ravens team. I mean, this is a very good owner. He spends the money. He got Derrick Henry in there. He spends the money. Signed Lamar Jackson. He's only had what? They've only had 3 coaches, I think, in their history, right? Marshall Broda when they started, and then Brian Bellick and Harbaugh. So this isn't a guy that has a quick trigger, but he felt his team had plateaued and his window was closing, and it's time to make a move. And so I was not shocked at all. Now, a lot of people say, "Oh, if the kid doesn't miss the field goal, he doesn't get fired." Well, you know what? He did, and he did. So you really can't go to that. I mean, they had a horrible season. The team underperformed on game after game. And I think the owner thought, look, it's just time for a change. I need something different here, something new, because whatever I've got ain't working. And then Lamar's getting older, and we got to figure this out. I don't think that was a shocker at all.
Yeah, and Coach Vince, to my the original point, what is it like for these teams, for these families and stuff, when you pick up middle of the year, you have high school kids, you got to move them around. It's got to be tough.
Well, yeah. I mean, we remember when a head coach gets fired, like John Harbaugh, probably over 50 people go with him, leave the door. His assistants, his assistants, all the other people that are behind the scenes that are part of the whole picture, strength and conditioning, nutrition, everybody. Okay. It gets cleaned out. Okay. So there was a story that Sports Illustrated did, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, maybe longer, where they followed assistant football coaches around that had been in the game for 20 or 30 years. And you would look at their resume, and there would be a period like in a 20-year span, they were at 15 or 16 different locations, because of firings or maybe getting terminated and getting an offer somewhere else. The life of an assistant football coach is you better have your bags packed.
Yeah, it seems.
Let's not feel bad for John Harbaugh. He's going to get a good gig, okay? And he's already made it known that he does not want to go into the announcing booth right now. He wants to keep coaching. So somebody's going to get a good head coach. No question about it. Whether it's Miami, it sounds like the Giants are really all in on him. And you know what, New York, the Giants might be a good fit for Harbaugh.
Yeah, it seems like he have all the pieces that he would need to be successful.
He's a great coach, but for the fact that Lamar Jackson gets injured and is out for 3 or 4 games, and they missed that kick, he's still there. It probably was a good time for them to move on. And Bisciotti probably said, look, the team doesn't really feel it anymore. There's something stale here going on. And any leader can look at an organization and go, look, John, it's been a great run. It's just better for the organization long term. But the problem the Ravens have is that Lamar Jackson has a $75 million salary cap hit. And you just can't put quality players up and down the field on all three sides of the game. And that's one of the problems that the Chiefs are going to have long term with Mahomes' contract, and that's why you see the NFL, they have a limited amount of success with quarterbacks who sign long term, very large deals, because it drains resources from the rest of the team. And you have to have that in the NFL because there's no room for error.
No, and especially when they're coming off their rookie deal and then you're signing them to these mega contracts. Now, on the reverse side, let's get to some of the games today. There are the 2 games today. Rams and Panthers. You have with the Rams and Matt Stafford. You're paying him an exorbitant amount of money, but you had the game plan going in. You made the trade to get him, and so your contracts for your other players are in line with that. But when it comes from the rookie then to the major one, yeah, you see all the teams fall off, it seems like, in this one. But man, Rams at Panthers, this is probably the biggest spread, I believe. It's Rams are favored by 10. It was 10.5 last night. The total is 45.5. The Carolina Panthers limped in here, kind of fell in. They're under 500. Bryce Young, you got a lot of storylines there, but I'm going to take it to the panel. Coach Vince, your early thoughts on this game? Not even early, it's today. Any chance for the Panthers to have a huge upset over these Rams?
These first round wild card weekend matchups are really weird, where you get a wild card team like the Rams that far and away have a better record and on paper are a much better team than Carolina. And Carolina limps in. They back in. They didn't even win last week to get in the playoffs. The Falcons got them into the playoffs. And they come in with an 8-9 record. This reminds me, I think 10, 12 years ago when Seattle won the NFC West with a sub 500 record. The New Orleans Saints were a wild card, but they were rolling and they were like a 12 or 13 win team. And beast mode went off that day. Now, does the Panthers have a Marshawn Lynch type guy? Probably not. But with that said, 10.5 for a playoff game as a road favorite being the Rams. That's tough to lay those points. I'll tell you that. Very tough. You either bet on Carolina or I think you sit this one out because it just historically it's not a great situation, I think, for the Rams.
Yeah, Chris, they already have Puka Nacua, and they're going to get Devontae Adams back too for the Rams. So it's going to be pretty tough.
They played earlier this year. Who won?
Oh, there we go. There we go. Are you going to go that way? Is that what you're doing?
If you're giving me 10 points, 10.5, and at Carolina, and Carolina already beat the Rams at Carolina, yeah, I go there and might place a side bet just on the money line because look, it's a 440 on the money line. It's a lot. That's a heavy spread, and they already beat them. And yeah, Carolina backed into it, but that's a dangerous football team. I don't care who you are. They'll take anyone to the mat if they're playing well that game. I like Carolina, and with the 10.5. Dear God,
John, Matt Stafford's one of the most efficient playoff quarterbacks in the history of the sport. Does he have a bad day today?
I think he has a decent day, but there's a couple lines here we're going to get to where the lack of respect for the home team is stunning to me in Vegas. I mean, if you think that I'm going to lay 10.5 points against a West Coast team flying to Charlotte in the rain, you're out of your mind, right? I mean, the mocking, I understand Carolina got beat last week. They backed in. I get the whole thing, but this has been a pretty decent football team. They're not great. They got a decent defense. They got a decent offense. They got a decent kicker. They're just decent. And to think that, Rams go in there and they're a 10.5 point favorite in Charlotte, I don't see it. I mean, I really think there's a complete disrespect for that team. I mean, you got to think these are professional players that won their division. I don't care how they got there. They won their division. They're in the playoffs. They got a home game. And, they look up and they're 10.5 point favorite and being written off for so much roadkill. I think they come up with a big game. Look, Bryce Young, I've not been a fan. None of us have on this show.
I have.
You have. Okay.
The only one.
I haven't. For the first 3 years, I didn't think it was an NFL quarterback. Now we're seeing a glimpse of, maybe he is. This is his shining moment. And he's got to, if he performs here, all that stuff is put to bed. They go on to next season. Maybe they win this game. I think they got a shot to win. And whenever I think a team can win a game and I'm getting would I take it? I love Carolina here plus the 10.5.
Divisions matter. The Rams would win anyone else's division except for the NFC West.
Hey, Mitch, can I?
But it's Seattle and the 49ers, right? Like that's tough.
Mitch, can I throw my 2 cents in here?
Absolutely.
Hey, they've talked about this for years. What's the panel's thoughts on why, even though Carolina won their division with 8 wins and the Rams are a 12-win wild card, does anybody here object to a team with a sub 500 record hosting a playoff game against a team that has 12 wins?
No.
Hell yes.
No. I've always thought divisions matter, but if you're under 500, I wouldn't be objected to, if somebody decided like, okay, you can't host a game, I could see that rule being in place. But I think divisions matter. And what are you playing for?
If you play for the division, they won their division. Okay. Yay, Atlanta. They won their division. They get a home game. That's the way it is. And so the Rams didn't win their division and they got to fly across the country. Boo freaking who? Okay. I don't care what division you're in. Anybody can whine about any division. You can do it in baseball. You can do it all. The AL West is weak. That's why the Astros won all those divisions. Baloney. They won the division. You win the division, you get the home game. NFL's got it right.
And the Steelers.
Otherwise, the divisions don't mean anything. Otherwise, let's just have AFC and NFC and just put the records up, and then divisions, rivalries don't matter. It's nonsense.
Yeah, as long as you're playing your opponents twice a year, then it has to mean something. Then what does it mean? And the Steelers benefited from years when the Browns and the Bengals sucked. It was 4 easy wins, every year. So we would have these elevated records because our division.
Same way with the Pats for years. Patriots, they ran the division like a German train.
Well, and that's why I think the Rams are going to prove right now that they deserve a home game, and they're going to stomp Carolina. It's going to be
anybody ever been on a German train? I mean, the thing is never. I don't know how they do it. The thing is, if it says 702,
they mean it.
It's 702.
And as soon as you cross into Italy, Paolo's taking a cigarette going, we'll be right with you. He's like, ciao, we'll be right there. And then they mash the accelerator and make their time into Bologna while you're like, all of a sudden you become a high-speed rail going down northern Italy past all the vineyards to catch up to the train because Paolo had a cigarette at Brenner Pass. Give me a break.
Apollo's going to have fun tonight because we have the marquee game, maybe of the weekend, is Packers at Bears. The Packers are favored by different lines. Looks like 1.5 what I'm looking at. Total is 44.5. This is obviously a classic, one of the biggest rivalries in history.
Mitch, did you make your pick, Mitch, on the?
Yes, I see Carolina is going to get their butts whipped.
Okay.
Rams are going to win by like 2. I'm going to do a little video like you do. Put it on Instagram later as well.
I'm doing it as soon as this show's over.
But man,
winners, baby.
Packers at Bears, Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, his health. There's all sorts of storylines, Coach Vince. This is a close game. It's going to be a classic matchup. Can't wait for this one. Where are you leaning towards on betting on this one?
Well, John mentioned no respect for the Panthers. How about no respect for the Bears here?
Unbelievable.
NFC North champions. They didn't look good last week, obviously, against the Lions. And maybe that's why that number is where it's at. But have the Packers looked good in the last month?
No,
they look terrible. Is Jordan Love quarterbacking tonight? Is he scheduled to start?
Think so.
Okay. That helps. But still, I mean, this game's at Chicago. The Bears are the NFC North champions, and they're getting 1.5. I'm taking the Bears here.
Bears. Chris, where are you going to go with this?
Yeah. Usually I would look at that game and go, I'm going to lay off of this thing, but I'll take the Bears here in a relatively low dollar event, but at 1.5. I think both teams are struggling right now. Not a lot of rhythm, not a lot of identity right now. So it's not a game I really have that much invested in. But the Bears, they have not been playing well. The Packers have not been playing well. They've been banged up. So, but to have a home field advantage and be given 1.5, boy, I'd like the Bears with that bet.
John, it has a feeling of a game that's going to be really close down to a field goal perhaps at the end. It just has that feeling. What are you thinking?
I think the Bears are a better football team. I mean, you look at the game last week, it was a meaningless game. They had won the division. It didn't matter to them. So who cares, right? They rested the majority of their players in the second half. It was a meaningless game. I love the Bears here at home. Getting the 1.5. They should be a 3-point favorite. And they should be a field goal favorite. Who have the Packers beaten in the last month? Nobody, right? They're playing like crap. Michael Parsons out for the season. He was a big part of this team. People are discounting that. Bears getting 1.5 at home at Soldier Field. Place are going to go crazy. I love the Bears. They win this game.
All right. I'm going to go with the Packers on this one. Just because I know what Vegas is doing to us. I know what's happening.
Well, they tried to do it with Oregon.
Tell me to take
the
road teams. I'm going with the road favorites today. I'm going to love this. All right, that's the first hour of the show. We broke down college football. We had the semifinals. We're going to have a great championship game next week. Second hour, we're going to break down the rest of the NFL games, all the Sunday wildcard games, including the Pittsburgh Steelers at Houston Texans.
Let's go.
Yes.
West Virginia Sports Nation gives you a top-of-the-mountain view of the Mountaineers sports landscape. See what's happening in all the sports, far beyond football, basketball, and baseball. Gymnastics, track and field, rowing, swimming and diving, golf, volleyball, tennis. More sports, more stories. If the Mountaineers play the game, WVSportsNation.com has it covered. Up-to-date and insightful articles written by Mountaineers for Mountaineers Nation. WVSportsNation.com. WVSportsNation.com. WVSportsNation.com.
The best part about waking up in the morning is a great cup of coffee, and I get this every day with my 1775 coffee. It's rich, it's bold, best tasting coffee I've ever had. Single origin, farmed in Bolivia, 7,000 feet. It's always fresh, roasted daily. This is the best coffee you're ever going to get. Go to 1775coffee.com, 1775coffee.com. Promo code Godzilla, 10% off. It's going to make your day every day.
You woke up with a sore throat and a low-grade fever. You know you are getting sick, so here's your choices. You can get sicker and miss work, try to see a doctor this week, or sit hours in a crowded waiting room at urgent care.
I have a smarter option for you. Open your medical emergency kit. Match your symptoms to doctor-recommended prescription in your booklet and take the right meds now and get well faster.
This is not a first aid kit. It's like having an urgent care in your home. It includes doctor-prescribed medications to treat over 39 medical issues like respiratory infections, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, and more.
No waiting to see the doctor and no standing in line at the pharmacy. It's right here.
Every home should have at least one medical emergency kit, and here's how to order.
Order online fast and save $45. Your kit with prescriptions to treat common and life-saving illnesses is rushed to your door. Visit twc.health/Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla.
John Fredericks, your Godzilla of truth, fiercely independent.
No ties to Wall Street, I promote Main Street.
The John Fredericks Media Network, privately owned and operated, on top of the issues on air and online.
Trucking the truth every day for 14 years.
The John Fredericks Show drives your morning, weekdays 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern. The only independent White House correspondent with live reports from the White House. Hit JohnFredericksRadio.com. Watch at JFMN.tv. John Fredericks, your Godzilla of truth.
Who's going to stop me now?
Nobody.
Did you know that somebody could literally steal your house? Yeah, that is a thing that happens. It is when a criminal forges your signature on one document, uses one fake notary stamp, and then spends about $30, $40 with the county recorder. They then take out loans using your home equity as collateral. And the worst part of it is, you don't even know it's happening until you start getting collections and foreclosure notices. Most people don't check on their home title because why would you feel like you needed to? But this right here is why you need to use Home Title Lock. They have $1 million triple lock protection that helps keep your home and equity safe. It includes 24/7 monitoring with protection immediately, urgent alerts in case there's any changes in your title. Then if fraud does happen, they have a US-based restoration team that will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore your title.
Find out if you're already a victim. Go to HomeTitleLock.com now.
John Fredericks, he's America's Godzilla of truth. All week long, he's world-renowned for his proficient proclivity to prophesy the people's political picks with pinpoint precision.
Yeah, baby.
Then, on the weekends, he gets with the guys that are pretty wise, and Godzilla wins. Godzilla Wins, the sports picking show for winning dough. Money lines, parlays, over-under, the best plays. You choose the game, Godzilla picks the winners. Get expert analysis, exclusive insights, and have a little fun. When the game is on your mind and money's on the line, Godzilla Wins is your guide to picking winners. Godzilla Wins, on the screens of your TV and favorite devices, commanding radio airwaves far and wide. Before you make that play, hear what the Godzilla crew has to say. Presented by WestVirginiaSportsNation.com, it's time for Godzilla Wins, all across the John Fredericks Media Network. Oh yeah.
For entertainment purposes only.
Welcome to the Godzilla Wins Saturday show. I'm your host, Mitch Rogers, joined by John Fredericks, Vince Mayoko, and Chris Saxman. Excited to bring the NFL Sunday games at you. As we have the national title game with Miami and Indiana coming up next week, the NFL are also trying to figure out who's going to play in their national title game, which we call the Super Bowl. Wild Card Weekend is upon us. I want to thank our sponsors, WVSportsNation.com and WV The Torch. Also, welcome aboard JS Walker Associates. We love our sponsors. We need our sponsors. And we're going to get into NFL picks today. It's a weird time in the NFL. the Chiefs aren't in there. The Ravens were picked to win the Super Bowl. They didn't even make the playoffs. The Bengals aren't in. There's Josh Allen had kind of a down year. It's leaving the door open, it feels like, for another team to make a run, and one of these wild card teams could do that. Coach Vince, I want to talk about, is it weird? Is it better? Because John talks about the parity, and we're finally seeing the parity. The Chiefs have done a great job in this salary capped world of formulating a dynasty when all odds are against you. I've always given New England credit for doing that in an era where obviously the salary cap's in there. But Vince, is it weird that we don't have the hated Chiefs, or like, that one team that the whole world hates? No Cowboys, no Chiefs. Do you like this, or do you want the big bad wolf back in the playoffs?
Well, it's the NFL is definitely a league of parity, and I think it was Pete Rozelle back in the day that was the goal as commissioner of the NFL in the 70s and 80s, was to create a parity where everybody had a chance. And they had some labor disputes, obviously, in the 70s and 80s, but I think the NFL is the model of how a professional sports league should be run from a financial situation where everybody has a shot. I mean, who would have thought at the beginning of the year that we'd be talking about Jacksonville being an absolute candidate to win it all this year as we start the first week in the playoffs. You look at baseball and it's just the opposite. It's like, okay, well, are the Dodgers going to win the 2026 World Series in a 4-game sweep, or are they going to take it out to a 7? I mean, we already know by and large, probably in baseball, who the top 4 or 5 teams are going to be entering the playoffs. And that's where Major League Baseball, needs to figure things out. John has talked about this before. Very likely there's going to be no 2027 Major League Baseball season. Players are going to get locked out, and the owners need to stick to their guns and create a salary cap, but also create a salary floor as well too, where the Pittsburgh Pirates of the world, the A's, the Rays, the Marlins have to spend a minimum of $75 million payroll or whatever the number is set. So you're bringing the ceiling down and you're raising the floor. And what you're going to end up doing is you're giving these younger players an opportunity to make a little more money. And I think the thing that baseball needs to address too is the minor leagues. If you're a minor league baseball player in single A or double A, you're not even getting paid minimum wage. And the way the current system is in Major League Baseball is if you're a superstar, yeah, you get yours. But if you're an average player or a young kid coming up through the minor league system, man, it's tough. And that's where, by and large, the 3 other sports leagues, most notably the NFL, the NBA, and the NHL, have figured it out to the best of the ability to at least keep their sport viable, where everybody can, before the season, think, hey, we got a shot. We got a shot this year. That's not the case in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and John, I want to kick it to you on this. The NFL seems to have, from whatever the cachet they build up, their popularity, they seem insulated from. They still get ratings even if they don't have their superstars out, is what I'm trying to say. So you can have a playoff without Lamar, without some of these superstars, and everybody's still going to gather around. It's just the institution. It's the soccer for our country. Major League Baseball, and even in the NBA, I know the NBA does obviously does the same thing the NFL to an extent, but they also allow you to do the luxury tax thing. They allow you to build super teams because they're scared that if they dilute the product and they have all these stars all the way across in like Midwest teams, that they're not going to be able to thrive, not survive, thrive. MLB's in that spot. They in their minds feel like you have to have LA and New York and Boston be good for this league to survive. And the rest of the league is saying, no, we can do what the NFL has done. I fall in the middle. I'm a Pirates fan. Obviously, I want to see this out, but maybe a model like the NBA has where you can still stack your teams a little bit more, like what Vince is saying. You have to spend, I don't know. It's just, I understand where MLB is coming from. They're scared to do what the NFL has done because they're not as popular.
NBA salary cap's a joke. Okay.
Right.
It's a facade. The best 2 salary caps to get parity and to grow the sport from where it's been. NHL, 7 years ago, who watched the NHL? Nobody. Now, it's right there, right? Because of the parity in the salary cap and the way they've instituted, and they have a minimum.
Yep.
So even San Jose, that won like 10 games last season, now got a shot to make the playoffs because they were able to sign some decent players. That NFL has got this figured out. And again, I say this 100 times. May his soul rest in peace. Cecil Upshaw figured this out, sold his players on it. He said, when I'm long dead and gone, you guys will be thanking me, and I still am. Guy was a visionary. This is what baseball needs. And until they do that, it's the sport is going to decline. And this is what the owners are seeing. I mean, Oakland and Pittsburgh, Miami, they figured out how to be wildly profitable while losing games. This is not the purpose of a franchise. It's like, Coach Herman says, the purpose is of going out there is to win the game. They don't even play to win. So you got to change this. You got to change it now. And look, I've been saying this for some time. You got to have the balls to do it. And to do like a half-ass measure like the NBA does, then you're like half in where, you got one shot. That's this next collective bargaining coming up. I'm going to predict it again. There's going to be no baseball in 27 at the major league level. They're going to lock them out. It's going to go on. You got that. Scott Boras is in there screaming their head off because he can't make, $10 million a player, whatever the hell he does. Too bad, Scott. You know what? Live on the $8 million a day you're already making. So they've got to do this. They've got to fix this. They got one shot to do it, and it's going to have long-term reverberations. So there's going to be a lockout. The owners have to stand firm. And when the players don't get that check every 2 weeks on the 1st and the 15th, they're going to cave. And so you're just going to have to, and look, I don't think the minor league players will honor the picket line. I think it's going to expand minor league baseball in 2027 because that's all we've got. You're going to be watching Toledo and the Norfolk Tides and things of that nature. And I'm all for it because you've got to fix this. You got one shot. You got to fix it.
They do. And then it'll be interesting watching the ratings for all these games. Like I said, Kansas City out there. I'm sure the NFL would, likes to have the Taylor Swift bump in there, but they're going to be fine. They're going to be just fine. And one of the teams that is a surprise, I think, to a lot of the Jaguars. They've won 8 in a row. They're facing the Bills. The Bills have to come to Jacksonville. The Bills did not get a home game, did not win their division. Not a lot of people saw that. Jacksonville, what a wild ride. It comes on in 95, expansion, Mark Brunell. They make the playoffs the first year.
Tom Coughlin.
They were like Steelers light. And then all of a sudden, just time passes by. They make the playoffs here and there a couple times maybe. And they get, the quarterback. Bills at Jaguars. And we have the Bills favored again. We've got these road teams favored by 1.5 is what I'm seeing. Total is 51.5. Trevor Lawrence, generational quarterback. Since he was in 8th grade, everybody has been wanting him. And Jacksonville, it's taken some time, Coach Vince, but it seems like they're on the right page right here. They got the right coach. The Bills, obviously, we know what they've been through, lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. Josh Allen's around. Their window is shrinking right now. Lots of pressure on Buffalo in this game. Surprising that the line, I don't know. I thought the Bills would be favored a little bit more. What do you think?
Yeah, well, last 5 years or so, the Achilles heel for Josh Allen has been Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, and they're not even in the picture. So you look at him going, wow, this could be the Bills' year now. And it very well could. I mean, I think we look at the entire season, the entire body of work, and I think all of us will agree the Bills were like, this year, maybe you'd get excited watching a game or two, and then all of a sudden they'd drop a game to somebody that they should beat. And they don't look like the same Buffalo Bills team that we've seen over the last 3 or 4 years. But the great thing about the NFL playoffs, everybody is 0-0 right now. And it's a new season. And maybe this is what Josh Allen and the Bills need. No Chiefs, no Lamar. It's there for the taking this year. And granted, they are going into a tough environment because the Jaguars they're rolling. And I don't think we think that Jacksonville has a great fan base, but they'll have a great fan base today. Okay, that place will be rocking. And This is going to be probably of all the matchups, it might be the most on paper, the most competitive matchup of them all. This one right here.
I agree. I mean, Travis Etienne for the Jaguars, he doesn't get talked about enough. And the Bills' run defense has been their Achilles heel all season long, Chris. I mean, it feels like the Jaguars could control the tempo of this game if they stick to the run and don't jump to that pass too early.
As much as I hate to say this, I love Jacksonville. They have been a knife in the chest of the Steelers for years. But I love that they're a young, vibrant, up-and-coming team. They got that chip on their shoulder. And Buffalo just seems to not have it this year. Even though they were 13-4, there's just something missing. There's like a dominance factor that they used to have. There's a swagger that they don't have anymore. And you go to Jacksonville, and to John's point in the previous conversation about salary caps, look, Jacksonville is number 38 in metropolitan statistical population. Buffalo is 51. These are two small market teams, right, and they are competing in the NFL because of the salary cap. And these people who live in these areas, these fans, have a legitimate shot to go to the Super Bowl. Both of these teams do, because of the salary cap. But for that, they're not there. And I think it's great. I think it's a great matchup for the NFL to have Jacksonville, small market team, against Buffalo, small market team, playing for a playoff win here. But I think Jacksonville wins. I just think they have that swagger that right now. I think they have nothing to lose, and that you hate to play a team like that. And they're very talented.
Yeah, I mean the quarterbacks here it's just interesting takes on both of them. Josh Allen obviously has all the pressure in the world on him, especially with, like you said, with the Chiefs out of the way, the Ravens out of the way. It feels like if he can get over this hurdle, it might have the easiest path that he's ever had. Trevor Lawrence, John, we talked about. I mean, generational quarterback, has never lived up to the hype in the NFL. It seems like he finally is. The NFL is just licking its chops right now. They're going to win either way. He wins, they've got another superstar quarterback they can market. He's finally ascended. He looks, surfer man, crazy. If Allen wins, obviously, we know what the hype is here. But what I look at, we brought up the running game on the reverse with Chris, but the Bills have the number one rushing attack in the NFL. And Jacksonville has the number one rushing defense in the NFL. So this is going to come down to Josh. Where are you going with this one, John?
I love the Bills here. I get the hype on Jacksonville. I really do. And I do really respect what the team has done and what Trevor Lawrence has done. But you've got one quarterback. You got one quarterback, Josh Allen, who we have seen in these big games somehow put his team on his back and just win them. Now, I know he's a little bit hobbled with his ankle, but he didn't play last week much. Hopefully that'll be a little bit better. But with James Cook in there, I mean, this is a very good football team. I'm going to go to what I think Vince said earlier. The thing standing in the way of Josh Allen has been Mahomes and Jackson, and they're not in the playoffs. I mean, they've got to go and win this game. If Buffalo doesn't win this game today, their season is as disastrous as the Ravens. If they get out in the first round, they've got to find a way to get down there to Jacksonville and win this game. And I think they've got the offensive arsenal to do that. Should be a good game. Like you guys said, probably the best on the card, but I'm going to bet Buffalo for one reason. I'm going to bet Josh Allen. He's going to find a way to win this game. And so therefore I'm going with the Bills -1.5 on the road.
Yeah, I'm going to go the same way. I think there's just too much on the line. Buffalo's been leading up to this, for the last few years. They can't lose in the wild card to Jackson. Just can't see it happening. I'm going to go with John.
Hey, guys, if Buffalo loses today, is Sean McDermott fired?
Yes.
Probably.
Yes. Because he's in the same boat as Harbaugh. He said they put a good team around him, and it was always okay, Mahomes and Jackson and this and that. And he had a very underwhelming season. I mean, they lost at Miami. I think they lost to the Jets. I mean, they've had bad teams beat him. They haven't played well on the road. They just haven't looked that good all season. The team has plateaued, and they've got another generational quarterback whose window's closing. He's getting hurt a lot now. A lot of different issues with Josh Allen. They got a short window. He doesn't win this game, he's gone.
And how does it affect
Harbaugh to Buffalo? Ooh.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Is how does that factor in? So with the nine head coaches that have been fired this week,
Is that amazing? 9?
there's a couple that people want. There's a couple retreads out there that people want. They're not all just like, hey, you failed, we don't want you. So does that come into the decision-making process? You got Raheem Morris, you got Harbaugh, you've got some legit, head coaches.
I think the trend is, though, for the up-and-coming offensive coordinator who can take the quarterback, put him in a system, and run with it. I think that's the trend line. And Harbaugh might not be that guy for Buffalo, but that's an intriguing pick for a franchise with that kind of quarterback.
Absolutely.
I think he's going to Tennessee.
That's all. I mean, hey, I think Tennessee and the Giants are kind of in a similar spot. They've got the young kids in line. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. The Browns. No, I'm just kidding.
Tennessee's got, get this, okay? And I know you guys make fun of my team. I understand.
No, we don't.
I get it. Look, we've got more draft picks, 8, than anybody in the National Football League. We have a bigger salary cap opening, bigger salary cap available than any NFL team. So they got the picks, they got the cap. What they don't have is a coach to figure it out. I want a Harbaugh. I want a McCarthy. I don't want to take a shot on some offensive coordinator, never been there, a Mike Nagy, retread, Spagnuolo. All these guys been there, done that, lost. I have no problem with Jason Garrett because the guy won games. I want a veteran coach that has won games who can try to put this team together. So my 3 favorites are Harbaugh, McCarthy, and Jason Garrett, which means that Amy will hire the worst possible choice out there, like Flores or some defensive coordinator that's never been a head coach or was a head coach and failed, like Nagy or Spagnuolo. So if you can figure out the worst choice for the Titans, that's who we'll hire.
I like it. John, I got another name for you. Cliff Kingsbury.
I don't want him either. He sucks too.
You might poo-poo that one, but
no, screw him. He sucked at Arizona. Look, all these guys, I want somebody that won games. Mike McCarthy won games. Jason Garrett won games. Give me somebody that won games, has a winning record.
You didn't even let Coach give his pitch for him. What's your pitch for old Cliffy?
Well, my pitch for Cliff is his forte is mobile quarterbacks like a Cam Ward. Okay, he was hired because of Kyler Murray with the Cardinals drafting him. But but hear me out, John. For the first year or two, Kyler Murray was pretty good. He really was. But they just didn't develop the entire team. The defense struggled a little bit, and Cliff was sent packing. What he did last year with Jaden Daniels with Washington was pretty good. So I'm not saying that the Titans should hire Cliff Kingsbury, but I bet he's going to be in that interview room.
There we go. Setting the culture for you. Exactly what you wanted with Harbaugh. Got old Cliff Kingsbury here. But I don't understand what happened with the Commanders. I have no idea.
They're injured.
Well, I know, but why do you fire him? I don't get.
They got old. That's the thing. I mean, they had to make changes. The team underperformed. I mean, I picked Super Bowl Washington Pittsburgh. I still got a shot for half of it, but they just got old on defense. They got old. Everybody got old. Then they all got hurt, and the wheels came off. But look, I'm not a Kingsbury fan, but I'm sure that the worst possible pick the Titans can make, I'm 100% guaranteed that's the pick they make, because that's been the trend line. My personal, if I had a choice of all of them, I love Jason Garrett as an outlier.
Jason Garrett.
I love this pick. The guy won games in Dallas. He had a dysfunctional owner. He won games. He's mature. They need a mature, experienced coach that has more W's than L's. Garrett fits that. McCarthy fits that. The others don't.
I didn't even heard anyone bring up Jason Garrett's name.
Okay. He already interviewed. He was their first interview.
Arthur Smith also interviewed.
I got no problem with Arthur Smith either.
I do.
I don't. We do. Whoa. All right, with your 6 trophies behind you. We love Arthur Smith right now.
That's why I have a problem with him going to Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
You need to focus.
Yeah, exactly. You need to focus.
I'd love to get Arthur Smith. I mean, he had.
No, you don't.
When Arthur Smith ran our offense, we had one of the best offenses. Because my son says, well, that's because Dad, we had a guy running for 2,000 yards a season. Come on, man. Good point.
Good point. But then he had Bijan Robinson and didn't hand it to him ever. So, all right. I want to do a little ad break. The Wellness Company, John, since you've been talking about them, I see their ads everywhere. I told you I went on a camping trip. Someone had a Wellness Company pack with them. I was like, wow, I've seen Dr. Drew. Everybody is very proud of this product.
Oh, because of Saxman telling everybody to buy it. Saxman's the best spokesperson ever. He's buying it for his kids on Christmas, right?
Right.
Gets it, but yeah, Saxman. That's why we take Saxman on the bus tours now with us, because he's becoming a better spokesman than I am. He's the man. So, but look, because we don't have, I can do this ad today because we don't have any of the Zoomers or millennials. None of them. We got 3
Can we talk about them?
I'm an X.
Just kidding.
We got an X, 2 boomers. What, Saxman, are you a boomer or an
Gen X?
Or an X? We got
Gen
2 X's and 2 boomers, right? Me and Vince are the boomers. Testosterone, Mars, the Wellness Company. I've been taking this for 2 months. I tell you what, I take a lot of different stuff. Took me about 6 weeks. I started to feel the difference. I got a ton of energy now. Got my testosterone up. I went and took a blood test. Doctor said your testosterone is down, like every guy's is when they get older. And I don't want to take the shots and all that. So I went to TLC. I talked to Dr. Kelly Victory. She said, hey, get them Mars. Take 2 tablets a day when you get up. Full glass of water. Here's the other thing. Makes you drink a full glass of water before you get up. That's a good thing in and of itself. And these are only like $67, 10% off with Godzilla coat. So $60. These 1 jar, 2 months. So you know what? They're affordable, but you're going to feel better, get your testosterone level back where it should be. It's going to affect all aspects of your life. We won't get into some of the other benefits of it here. This is a family show, but I can just tell you, check this out. Go to twc.health/Godzilla, twc.health/Godzilla, promo code Godzilla, 10% off. Juice your testosterone with Mars. Affordable, and it works.
What a different world we live in right now. Barry Bonds probably used that 25 years ago. Now he's not allowed in the Hall of Fame, putting cream all over himself. But now you can do whatever you need to do. Testosterone, yeah. We all need
it's healthy.
At that point, you listen to Godzilla Wins. It's our big show. We're going down the NFL wild card schedule right now. I'm your host, Mitch Rogers, joined by John Fredericks, Vince Mayoko, Chris Stacksman, and if you look at Coach Vince's background, about to bring it up now. All right, San Francisco 49ers at Philadelphia Eagles. This has an NFC Championship vibe to it, but it's being played on Wild Card Weekend. So now I completely understand where you're saying, okay, maybe we could reseed a little bit based off schedules, but this is where we are. The Eagles, Coach Vince. I mean, they just win. They don't seem to have any offense in the second half. They can play defense at times and then not. They can run the ball when they feel like it. But they just flat out win. They're your defending Super Bowl champions. San Francisco 49ers have been injured all season long, have figured out a way. They have taken a guy that has blown out every Achilles, every PCL and ACL with Christian McCaffrey, and they have made him a workhorse back, 27 to 30 carries a game, and they're just going to keep it going. The line, as of right now, Eagles favored by 5.5, over under 44.5. This will be played at the Vet, or whatever they call it, Lincoln Financial Field. Coach Vince, what do you feel?
I can't believe you said the Vet.
What do I think?
Wait. When I say the Vet, everybody makes fun of me.
I know.
He says it, and like nobody says anything. Like, okay, Vet.
Three River Stadium on Monday night.
And if the 49ers were hosting this game, it would be at Candlestick Park.
Exactly.
But anyhow,
that's
for another time. But hey, you know what? You look at this line 5.5. That's based on how the 49ers looked last week against Seattle. It's 49ers coming into last week. If they take care of business, they're the number 1 seed. They get to rest some bodies and sit out for a week. And let's be honest, the 49ers got thoroughly manhandled on both sides of the ball last week, both offensively and defense. Purdy didn't have time to throw. The offensive line couldn't create running space for Christian McCaffrey. And then on the flip side of that, which has been the 49ers' issue ever since they lost Bosa and Warner, they create no pass rush at all. Fortunately for the 49ers, the Eagles are not a pass type team where they try to get Barkley the ball. Hurts has looked I don't know, he doesn't look the same as he has in the previous couple of years. So I think this line is based on what we saw last week with the 49ers lack of production against the Seahawks. But you know what? Let's give the Seahawks some credit. The Seahawks are pretty darn good. They are pretty darn good. So this is a matchup that's very intriguing, 49ers and Eagles. Should the Eagles be favored? Absolutely. Should they be 5.5 point favorites? I don't think so. This seems more like a 2 to 3 point line. So with that said, and hopefully from what we understand, it's going to be a game time decision, but all indications are that Trent Williams will be back at left tackle.
That's a huge.
Ricky Pearsall will be back at the slot. So that gives the 49ers a couple of big offensive weapons that they did not have last week against Seattle. On the flip side of that, the 49ers did get banged up on defense last week. They lost Bethune, who's the replacement for Fred Warner. So they're even thinner at the linebacker position. But I don't know if I'm doing this with my head or my heart. Hopefully it's with my head, but I like the Niners in this one.
Yeah, and it looks like I just went on ESPN. The spread went to -6. So it's like it's almost begging you to take the 49ers, which scares the pee out of me, Chris Saxman. Where are you going?
It really shouldn't scare you. I think it's a good bet. The Niners 12-5 getting 6 points in the playoffs. I like that. That's a very inviting opportunity to make some money here. Eagles, I don't think they're as dominant as they used to be, and I don't think they're going to put that kind of a spread on a team like the Niners. I just think the Niners are a more complete team than what they're being credit for here. And Purdy and McCaffrey, they can keep it close, and I think they will. I don't think they win, but I think with 5.5, 6 points, that's a Niners bet to me.
And I know we talk about like the Chiefs are out, the Ravens are out, but I mean, the Eagles don't seem like they get the credit deserved because they don't put together flashy numbers. They just win. Just throwing it out there, Chris, if they go on another run and potentially win a Super Bowl.
Stop it. Don't stop. Shut your mouth.
Hey,
shut your mouth. They don't belong there.
We got a modern day. We got
shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
We got a new dynasty.
Shut your mouth. No, don't.
John, could the Eagles start a new dynasty right now? So what? This spread scares me because I want to go 49ers all day long. I mean, I'm like this is the easiest bet in the world, but we know what happens with these spreads. They're begging you for the 49ers, and the Eagles are going to take this thing, aren't they, John?
This is my best bet of the weekend by far. San Francisco +6. I would have taken them at 3.5.
Yeah.
I have said since the middle of the season, the Eagles are frauds. Their defense is a fraud. They've won games they shouldn't have won. They lost games they should have won. They've beaten lousy teams. Washington, Giants. I mean, even the Giants, I think, beat them once. They're just not that good. To be 6-point favorite over a team that had one bad game with a bunch of injuries. One bad game. This line should be 3.5 max. It's gone up to 6 because everybody's buying in the Eagles hype and because San Francisco went on national TV against Seattle, big hype game, and got thrashed. Okay, it's one game, right? Football you play 17 games. Very difficult to be up for every single game. They got the crap kicked out of them. I get it, right? They went back, licked their wounds. Now they're going to Philadelphia. They're not playing at 10 a.m. the way Carolina has to, the Rams have to do. So it's not as bad for them. I think they go in there and win this game. I think they're a better football team. I'm just not a believer in the Eagles. I think they're frauds. I love San Francisco in this game and can't believe I'm getting 6. I'm all over it. Best bet of the weekend.
One other thing to add to that too, John, the Niners are getting an extra day off too.
That's correct.
At this point in the season, I think that's huge.
Huge.
Well, we're so reactionary, and I think that's what Vegas knows as well. Brock Purdy, until last week's performance, all of a sudden looked like a franchise quarterback. His mobility, the way his clutch performances going down the stretch, and then all of a sudden he has one bad game, and now everybody's like, "Oh, that's the last pick. He's not even that good anymore." I think there's just recency bias to this. And
last 7 games, the Eagles are 3-4 against not good teams.
I
just don't see the trend line there. The trend line's just not there. They're not clicking right now to get 6 points. I mean,
And that's the problem too, right? They played against, Josh Johnson last week. They rested their starters. So you don't even know what Eagles team you're getting. But I think that's the point where Vegas is saying is like, we know what we're getting. They're going to have 2 good quarters of play and then grind you down. It's just a weird thing, but I'm going to go with the 49ers as well. +6 just seems like too opportunistic. You have to take that, but I'm not going to be surprised. I'm not going to be surprised if it goes the other way. What does it do?
The NFL.
Vince, I want to ask you here. You got the vibe out in San Francisco. This feels like, and we brought this up, when teams have nothing to lose. Now, the 49ers should have pressure. They have one of the premier franchises in all of the land. They get close every year, but they can't get over the hump and win a Super Bowl. But with all the injuries this year, are they playing with house money over there? Is there less?
I think you can make that argument. I think if we look back at when Bosa and Warner went down and they had all their Kittle out for 6 games and Purdy out for 7 games. So you're looking at probably week 8, 9, or 10, and you're going, 49ers making the playoffs? There's no chance that's happening. And then they end up being a 12-win team in the toughest division in football. That's pretty remarkable. And I still think, even though the 49ers didn't win the NFC West, Shanahan has to be considered for NFL Coach of the Year. There has to be. Now, whether he gets it or not, he probably won't. They'll probably give it maybe to, I'm trying to think of some coaches here are deserving. Probably the Jaguars coach, the Bears coach would obviously be in the mix as well too.
Vrabel.
Pardon?
Vrabel.
Yep, Vrabel. No question about it. Probably Vrabel's at the top of the list. But a remarkable job of that coaching staff. And are they playing with house money? Yeah, I think you can make that argument.
Well, talk about coaching staffs. And Chris, I'll throw this one to you. It's got to be frustrating for somebody like Shanahan, who goes up against Nick Sirianni, who doesn't seem like he's on the same level schematically. But what is Sirianni? Is he a vibes guy? Because you can see his own players kind of even laughing at him after a loss 2 weeks ago when you see him lose the locker room. But what is the sauce with Sirianni? How does he keep winning? Because I just don't see anything from the outside looking in.
I have absolutely no idea. I asked the same question.
Maybe it's Big Dom that keeps everything in order there, right?
It's Big Dom.
You ask Eagles fans and they're out of their minds until the guy starts winning. They're like, oh my God, he's the greatest thing in the world. This is like Tomlin on the east side of Pennsylvania. It's like the same damn disease. The guy keeps winning, racking up wins. They're not blowing people out. They're not. I mean, it's frustrating. Maybe that's just the remnants of what Pennsylvania is all about. They have 2 bad accents on both sides of the state, and they culminate in just ripping their coach until they win and go, oh my God, he's the greatest thing in the world again until next week, right?
Well, and not to keep on this game, but the fact that they're so bad, they're so inept that we're not even talking about Saquon Barkley, who should have had an amazing season this year, but schematically, for whatever reasons, and they asked the 49ers defensive coordinator, blanking on his name now, throw it out there,
Robert Saleh.
Yeah, they asked Saleh about it this week, and he basically said, I don't want to get into schematic. Basically, he said he should have been more successful this year without throwing the Eagles under the coach. Basically saying schematically they do some things not up to par, which is crazy, but they're favored by 6 right now.
The one thing, Mitch, is the Eagles have going is they have an outstanding defensive coordinator in Vic Fangio.
Yes.
And he's probably the saving grace to the whole program right now, because Fangio is a well-respected. He was Jim Harbaugh's defensive coordinator when the Niners were good in 2010, 11, and 12. And he does have the Eagles defense dialed in right now.
Absolutely. John, I want to get to one of our awesome sponsors out here, Rosie's. If you want to watch some playoff football and also have some fun gambling and a great atmosphere, some great food, have some fun, there's one right down the road from John and I in Dumfries, Virginia. Rosie's has been a great sponsor of our show for a while. Why don't you tell our listeners?
Well, forever. They've been a founding sponsor. Nate Mize, who's their VP of marketing there, has really created a very different type of a casino atmosphere. It's very family friendly. They're now pumping in oxygen. They've got windows. You don't smoke. There's a smoking section way off to the side. So the other casinos have non-smoking little sections. They have a smoking section sequestered off in all their casinos. So it's just a great place to be. And the reason I love going, and I'll be in Richmond Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'm going to go there Wednesday night, Thursday night. I have a lot of fun right by our studio. in Richmond because I get the biggest payouts. They have the lowest take of any casino in the continental United States. That's what the General Assembly set up, which means you get more money for the players, bigger winnings, bigger jackpots, bigger payouts. But it's just a fun atmosphere. The food, fantastic. When I go to Colonial Downs, we have our suite there. The food is excellent. The service is fabulous. Just a fun place. And, you get done playing the casino stuff downstairs with the slot machines. You go right upstairs. You got all the TVs. You got all the games. You got the betting parlor right up there where you can bet all your football games. You got OTB if you want to bet, one of the other racetracks like I do. It's just a fun atmosphere, fun place to bring your date, bring your spouse, significant other, have fun, win money. Great atmosphere, great entertainment. Go to rosiesgaming.com. That's rosiesgaming.com. Everything is right there, rosiesgaming.com. They're all over Virginia. I'm going to be there Wednesday night, Thursday night. Can't wait. I'm going to win some money, and then I'll have some green for the scene going in next weekend.
There we go. You're listening to Godzilla Wins all over the John Fredericks Radio Network. I want to thank WV The Torch and WVSportsNation.com for sponsoring the show. We got a couple more games to cover, a wild card weekend, and this next one is pretty good. We got the Chargers at the Patriots. The Patriots are probably the surprise of the season. It's why the Bills are on the road this week, and Drake May and these New England Patriots with Vrabel have ascended to the top of the heap. New England hasn't been to the playoffs since 2021. So for all the New England haters out there that thought we would be rid of them for a few years after the Brady era, nope, they're back. And all of a sudden we have a great matchup. Justin Herbert, Drake May, trying to get their first playoff wins each. May is just trying to just jump right over Herbert and say, hey, I'm the man. Let's just go. The Patriots favored by 3.5. The total is 46.5. Quarterback duel here, Coach Vince. This game looks fun. And it's just one of these things where you don't know what you got. New England's had a great regular season, but they haven't been to the playoffs. So you don't know what medal they're going to bring, what they have, if they could, weighing under the pressure. What do you think is going to happen this week?
Yeah, and you think about last week, the Chargers really had a meaningless game, so they got to rest Herbert and a whole host of their normal starters, so they're well rested. This is a big matchup, man. Herbert versus May. I like this quarterback matchup. Probably of all the quarterback matchups this weekend, this might be the most intriguing quarterback matchup. Hey, you know what? I'll give the Patriots their props, man. I at the beginning of the season, I think we could all agree that we thought that it was the Bills penciled them as the AFC Eastern Division champs, and the Patriots definitely flipped the script on that one. And I think because of their young roster, first time in the playoffs, Chargers have been to the playoffs the last year or two, so there's a little bit of at least having some experience in the playoffs. Is being a young team like the Patriots, is that gonna affect them? I don't know. Vrabel is obviously an experienced NFL coach, coaching the Titans and taking the Titans into numerous playoffs. But this is going to be a fun game to watch. It really is. Now, who do I like in this? Well, I guess I have to go with the Chargers because they were my preseason pick to win the AFC this year. So why bail on them now, right? Just ride it. But it's going to be a close game. I like the Chargers in this one, just from the standpoint that they are also getting 3.5 points. And but this should be an outstanding football game.
Chris, if the Chargers win and the Bills win and the Steelers win, the Steelers have a home playoff game next week. I'm not going to let that affect anything that I'm picking. There's no heart going.
Stop doing this. Your commentary is killing me. I'm already getting heart palpitations.
New England, what's been interesting in this last few weeks, and I know no one on this panel plays fantasy football, but if you did, you would notice that Travion Henderson, the rookie running back, all of a sudden took a backseat a little bit to Ramondre Stevenson because Travion got hurt, came back in. Ramondre had like 4 touchdowns 3 weeks ago. They kept him in 2 weeks ago as well. He's getting the bulk of the carry, so it seems like they're relying a little bit on their veteran here rather than having a rookie and a second-year quarterback here. I think that just interesting that they've gone back to the veteran over the rookie, the rookie's been great all year. Just throwing out there. Who you got?
I think the Patriots went on a last-second field goal, and that 3.5 is very inviting as a result. I think the Patriots are a little overrated, and I think the Chargers are a little underrated. But backing up to Saquon Barkley has 65 less touches, less rushes than last year. I think the talk about schematics. I think the other teams playing the Eagles have focused on taking Saquon Barkley out of the equation and having Jalen Hurts beat them with the pass game, which they don't really have. But this one, I like the cover here for the Chargers.
Yeah, and the Chargers have allowed 60 sacks, franchise high. That's one of the leading sack totals. So, and obviously Vrabel, I mean, just a linebacker for the Steelers, then went to New England. So obviously he's going to be keying in on trying to put Herbert down. And Herbert is coming off, that bye week that Coach Vince talked about earlier is huge. Not bye week. They got the rest of their starters because we know that Herbert has been hurt. He's had the broken bone in his non-throwing hand. So we'll see how that is.
They lost 2 tackles, correct? They've lost their 2 stud tackle, right and left tackles throughout the season. And that's why they're giving them so many damn sacks.
Yeah, right before that Steelers game. Absolutely. Yeah. So, John, what are you thinking here? Obviously, New England, regular season New England, it'd probably be, easy to pick them. But right now, it's a lot of pressure. It's a new season.
Several years ago, San Diego, I think they were still San Diego. They went into Jacksonville for one of these first round games. They had a 21-0 lead. They had the ball on the Jacksonville 35 with a minute to go, and they had a 4th and 1. Had they gone for that and had the balls to do that and got that first down, they probably scored again. That game would have been over. Instead, they kick a field goal, miss it. Jacksonville gets the ball, goes down this field, gets a touchdown, and they win the game. I think that still haunts this franchise. That's a haunting loss they had. Harbaugh is not going to put up with that kind of stuff. This is a different Charger team than we've seen in the past. I want to give New England their due, but I'm going to take San Diego here. I'm sorry. The Chargers plus the 3.5. I think they go in there, shock the Patriots, win this whole game.
What I love about this is you have two coaches that I just think are going to do the right thing. And the Chargers defense has been one of the best against the pass all season long. And that's why I brought up the 2 running backs for New England. I think Vrabel is going to rely heavily on them, control the tempo of this game. He obviously knows Drake May has the potential to throw 3 to 5 touchdown passes, but that's not what it's about. Just get the win, rely on your running game, and grind this one out. I think New England wins it. I would rather them not win it, obviously, for my homer, trying to get the Steelers a home playoff win, but a home playoff game, 2 of them in a row, that'd be kind of cool. But I'm going to go New England here. I don't want to, but I'm going to go New England. I'll put it on my Instagram later. I'll put it on the Instagram. All right, we've got 1 game left.
Which one is that? Which game is on the schedule?
Hey, if you on Wednesdays at 12:30 on the John Fredericks Radio Network in the Pittsburgh and West Virginia area, you could have heard the Renegade Rant. We talked about it, hosted by Chris Saxman. I get to be a panelist on it, which is so much fun. It's so much easier. I can just sit there and just say what I want. Oh,
I've been saying
ad reads and do gambling disclaimers, but I love it. It's fun. It's fun. But the Texans are at the Steelers. We've talked about it. The Steelers are one of those teams, 10 wins, man. 10-7. Everybody tries to lump them into the same category as Carolina Panthers. They're not. They deserve to win that division. This is the Ravens, the Bengals, the Browns. The Browns only with 3 wins, but still with one of the best defenses in the NFL. So every game was tough this year. They gritted it out. Aaron Rodgers has brought back just the vibes, the franchise quarterback vibes that we have been missing. Obviously, I'm a homer. Texans at Steelers. Let me give you the lowdown. Texans are favored by 3. Steelers back-to-back weeks at home being underdogs. Probably the first time I've ever seen that in my life. The total is 39.5. Tomlin is 22-0 on Monday Night Football at home. Regular season, I get it. The NFL did them a real solid, Chris, didn't they? Putting them on Monday night. It pains me because it wrecks my week because now my week starts Tuesday with me waking up late. Oh, whatever. Chris, you're going to be in Anchorage, Alaska. Where are you going to watch this game? What do you?
I don't know. Stop talking. I will be in Anchorage, Alaska.
Good Zeppelin, baby. I ramble on. I'll let you ramble.
No, look. I mean, we're both homers. Objectively speaking, though, Steelers at home on a Monday night, and they're getting 3 points, and it's Mike Tomlin, and they're 4 out of their last 5. And DK Metcalf is coming back on offense, and the defense is healthy. You got to take the Steelers here to at least cover that. May not win. I think they win outright. I'm going to take money line. I mean, my heart take my money on this one. But the Steelers at home on a Monday night, that you know, and it's going to be cold, and it's going to be, you know, the weather's going to be miserable. The stats all favor the Pittsburgh Steelers. Normally, this would be a catch game if it was on the road, right? The Steelers would lose this game on the road. At home on a Monday night, take the Steelers all day long. I mean, that's the bet. That's the bet you have to take.
Coach Vince,
And that's objectively, is like, that's data.
Yeah, I'm trying to be as objective as possible here.
100%.
I think that loss to the Cleveland Browns 2 weeks ago, because Cleveland was playing for the sack record, playing their Super Bowl basically. They didn't lay down. They have one of the best defenses in the NFL, and they're facing a team that has a similar defense in the Texans, and I think they can look on that and improve on their game plan, because obviously the game plan they had against Cleveland did not work out. The Steelers have not relied on their offense all year long, so when they go up against a defensive juggernaut, that doesn't seem like a huge deal, because it's not like they're putting up a lot of points anyway. They need to figure out how to just control the tempo of the first half. Rodgers, it feels like their formula is this: figure it out, score at halftime, get the ball back, and then Rodgers kind of dissects the defense. He starts playing less conservative. He doesn't want to turn over in the first half. I don't care how good your defense is. They can do that against any defense. Am I wrong?
What was the statistic for the last 4 games in the third quarter? The Steelers have given up a combined 8 yards in the third quarter. 8 yards, not 8 points, 8 yards.
Yeah.
Of course, they lay down in the fourth quarter and it gets too close, but that's just another thing altogether.
So the most unobjective eyes we have here are Coach Vince. John's owned some stations in Pittsburgh. He's lived in Pittsburgh. He just moved to D.C. Vince, you are all the way out there on the West Coast, of the leftist coast. Let's go. What? Not leftist, West. I was just giving a direction. Left coast. Where? Clarify that, John Fredericks Radio Network. Hey, what are you thinking here? Unobjectively, we need your insight here.
Well, I don't know how unobjective. Aaron Rodgers is from my hometown.
Oh, that's true.
So, hey, I'm telling you right now, Aaron Rodgers needs to play one more season.
Yes.
100%. Oh, my God, yes.
The Steelers need to throw the bank at him. Hey, come back. Please come back for at least one more year. I tell you, some of those passes he made late in that game last week, I don't know if there's a quarterback in the NFL that makes any of those passes.
Nope.
He is spinning it right now. And he plays his best football in the fourth quarter. And if you're talking playoff football, that's vital. You want your quarterback playing the best football in the fourth, not playing your best football in the first quarter.
Yep.
Sachs, I think you sent something out last week or this past week in our group chat. A dome team that goes on the road in the playoffs and plays under 40-degree weather, I believe it's like 2-15 or something like that. Some crazy number like that. Hey, the Texans are legit, but they're going into a hostile environment. We talked about this before. There's nothing better, and I've never been there, but I want to do it. It's my bucket list. A Monday night football game in Pittsburgh late in the season or in the playoffs. There's no other environment that you can recreate.
John, hook it up. We can have Coach Vince out, but Monday night we can do this now.
Dude, I just got chills head to toe when Vince was talking about this.
I will drive up and meet you. Let's do it. Cousins, let's go. I'm in.
That place is going to be psyched.
There is no place anybody would rather be than Wild Card Weekend, a Monday night in Pittsburgh, right?
Oh man!
So, and you're getting 3 points. Take the Steelers in this one.
Oh, John!
They said that during the game, during Renegade, even though the Ravens scored on that drive, and they played Renegade in the fourth quarter, it was louder than when Loop missed the field goal.
Yeah, that's what my friend told me. So, hey, Coach Vince is going with the Steelers as well. John, you always you tell us to temper it down when we get pretty emotional. You've been a fan of the Steelers all season long. You've been level-headed about this. Where are you going today?
I picked them to go to the Super Bowl, and I'm going to stand by that pick. I think right now they're they're the team you don't want to play. They got a great defense. Look, we all bashed them against Cleveland. If DK Metcalf doesn't do the stupid DK Metcalf stuff with that fan, the Steelers win that game at the end. Those 3 passes, he had nobody to throw to. Look, here's what it comes down to. One thing, you either believe in Aaron Rodgers or you don't. If you don't believe in him, you're going to bet the Texans, right? Good luck. I believe in the guy. I think he's one of the best. He is right now the best quarterback in the NFL. Vince nailed it. He was throwing dimes last week. I mean, the way he reads these plays, you got to remember too, the way this guy operates. Every week, the passing game gets better because his receivers start figuring out what he wants. He has no tolerance for nonsense, no tolerance for not knowing exactly where you should be. Nobody ever misses an assignment. And give me Aaron Rodgers with the ball in the fourth quarter in a close game. I'll take that bet all frigging day. Steelers +3, my second best bet of the year. At home on a Monday night. You got to be kidding me. You think the Texans are going to go in there and win this game? Tomlin is 22-0 on Monday night. He's probably 50-2 as an underdog at home. I love Tomlin here. I love the Steelers. This team's going to the Super Bowl, and they're going to start with a decisive win on Monday night.
Oh man, I'm getting.
I don't think Tomlin's 22-0. I think the Steelers are 23 in a row.
Yeah, they've won 23.
Whatever it is, right?
Well, I'm just saying, just for our audience.
Tomlin as an underdog. Look, I'm a Tomlin fan. You guys bash him all the time.
I don't. I love him.
I take Tomlin. Look, all the guy. He's another guy. He just wins games. The guy wins. Give me a coach who wins games. I'm good. I know he hasn't had the record in the playoffs, but he also hasn't had the team. He hasn't had a quarterback since Roethlisberger. Now he's got a Hall of Famer. I don't care how old this guy is. He's Aaron friggin' Rodgers. If you believe in him, you bet the Steelers. If you don't, you bet Stroud and the Texans. Good luck.
Yeah, let's go. We need to do what
I think. To your point, John, I think he's finally in rhythm with his receivers, and the receivers are in rhythm with him. Thielen's figured him out. MVS has figured him out. They're in a rhythm, and now they're bringing back DK Metcalf. Oh my God! And I love the fact that Freiermuth is more part of the offense than he was before. I think they over relied on Darnell Washington as the jumbo package, and I don't think that fits Aaron Rodgers because he's more of a passing quarterback. And now that they're in rhythm, I think it's a very, very dangerous team.
Yeah, and the key is the pass rushers for the Texans, right? You got Will Anderson and Daniel Hunter, 26 combined sacks. So the run game's going to be crucial here. Gainwell, Jalen Warren. Gainwell is going to be chipping like he did against Myles Garrett, figuring out. I think Calvin Austin and Freiermuth over the middle is going to, because they run that cover 2 shell.
You guys got rid of that loser offensive tackle. You shipped him off to the Titans. You told me you did. That was horrible.
Dan Moore.
That guy sucks.
I told you. No, but can the Steelers counter that rush attack from the outside by running inside that gap? And that's going to be, and that pulling guard can slide over and open that up. That's going to be a tell. And McCormick is a beast. Frazier is a beast.
Frazier's on another level. When they were showing his second level blocking on Roquan Smith last week, it was beautiful to watch. Now they have a formula; they got to stick with it, right? Yep. You conservative in the first half, no turnovers, and that's what Rodgers usually is doing in the first half of the game, making sure that this game is close. And their formula has been third quarter dominance, fourth quarter let Rodgers just tell people what to run. It's like backyard football, hitch and goes, and I just love the vibe. Like what John has said, there's something about the camaraderie that they've done where these veterans.
They're coming together.
Us vibing together with
Rodgers is tough. Look, Rodgers is tough. He demands excellence. When he went on the Jets, that was the whole thing. When he went to the Jets, is like they were never accustomed to this much work. He called them out, asked them what the play is on the bus or the plane. They wouldn't answer it. He said, "You can't." Remember, he said, "If you're a rookie and you can't recite my plays, you can't come in my huddle." Remember all the flack he got for that? Yeah. This is a leader. This is what a leader does. They held everybody accountable. And if you can't do it, don't get my friggin' huddle. That's what he said. Mm-hmm. He didn't fit the Jets and he hurt his ankle. Now that Achilles is gone, there's a Hall of Fame quarterback. He is going to show everybody on Monday night. This team's going to the Super Bowl.
John's got me hyped up. Well, that's it for our show this week. Enjoy the wild card games today and on Monday Night Football, where the Steelers obviously are going to win this game and go on their Super Bowl run, but it's going to be amazing. I'm going to put my picks up on Instagram as well, so go follow me there and follow everybody else on social media. But this is Godzilla Wins. I was your host, Mitch Rogers. Thank you, John Fredericks, Vince Mayoko, Chris Saxman. Please listen to the Jay Delsing Golf Show, which is up next.